a lot of the Detroit Lions fans were freaking out when the Lions worked out Hayden Hurst. I'm reading the article I link in the description from M Live. Hayden Hurst is a tight end from South Carolina, 25-year-old rookie, run like a 4.67. Athlete. He's moving up draft boards, and even I seen he was picked like a number 16 in one of the drafts today. It's another tight end that's projected that could be in the first round as well. We back. It's Motor City Sports Talk. It's your boy CJ Goodfella narrating as usual. And, Lions fans were freaking out. I'm going to link this article in the description. You can read some of the tweets when Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network said Lions was working out, Hayden Hurst, the tight end from South Carolina, 25 years old. And they was like, oh, no, not another tight end in the first round. Exactly. A lot of fans wanted, them to draft Evan Ingram or David Njoku last year. Ingram came off hot. I think he got injured at the end of the year. But it was no other reason for Ingram to be hot because New York Giants lost every pass catcher they had in the book. So he was the only threat they had. And Njoku had a lot of ups and downs with the Browns. And the tight end position is another position that's hard to translate into the NFL. We're seeing Eric Ebron have his troubles as well. And our history of drafting tight ends lately ain't been good. I mean, I couldn't stand Brandon Pettigrew, As much as I couldn't stand him, I couldn't stand Eric Ebron equally. At least Pettigrew at the end of the day can block. And he caught passes, phenomenal passes that you expect him to drop. Pettigrew problem was he dropped the easy shit, and also, he had hands of stone. He was, weak-handed. He was a little bit soft, but he can block. Eric Ebron couldn't do nothing. He couldn't, dominate like we thought he could. He was an athlete with all this, fluid, athletic, fast, twitchy ability. It's never just panned out, and he just couldn't catch. Neither one of them can catch. I don't care. If you're going to draft a tight end in the first round, make sure you can catch. But all the great tight ends in the league right now pretty much ain't been drafted in the first round. Gronk was a second-round draft pick out of Arizona with back issues. Jimmy Graham was down the line. Travis Kelce was down the line as well. You can go on and on. A lot of these tight ends were drafted later on. Antonio Gates, I know he's a little bit older now. Martellus Bennett was a second-round draft pick as well. I mean, a lot of these tight ends are, you get tight ends in late in draft, middle rounds, or late in drafts. You can. A lot of these guys are, former basketball players that need to know how to develop into the position. But like I said, I'm not finding them drafting an offensive lineman, especially if it's a guard. Obviously, it would have to be a guard because we have, two tackles that we have some money invested and some time invested in too, and Taylor Decker and Rick Wagner. And a lot of people was mad at Rick Wagner last year. Give him another chance. I'm just not down with drafting a guard in the first round either. You can get a guard later down the draft. Real talk. A lot of great guards went late in the draft. Obviously we took Lincoln Thomason. He didn't pan out under Mark Mayhew. But, yeah, the tight end position, I'm straight on it, man. You know what I'm saying? I could just roll with Luke Wilson and Michael Robertson, the guy from Toledo. And you can bring in somebody later in the draft. We could just develop, Michael and the later guy in the draft, because obviously we've been getting the work done without a good tight end for years now. With Pettigrew, Ebron had been stone hands at the drop from his prime. I mean, obviously we getting yards and we winning some football games with lackluster and below average tight ends. We need to really worry about getting the run game fixed and getting our defense fixed as far as getting after the quarterback. I know it would come at a point in the draft at 20. Cowboys pick in front of us. They looking for a receiver. They worked out the guy from SMU by nearby Dallas. I can't remember his name. He's one of the best receivers in college football. We looking for pass rushing. In linebackers. I don't have any faith in our linebackers. I don't know too much about Christian Jones or Devon Kennard or whatever it may be. But we also need pass rushers, like really, really bad. We need somebody that can be the yin to Ziggy's yang. I like Marcus Davenport. I like Lorenzo Carter that can go anywhere from 1 to 3. I like different guys in there. They can get after the quarterback. But a tight end, we're not at the luxury we could draft a tight end in the first round. We in the luxury. We need somebody that's going to come in and produce now. We need somebody to get after the quarterback and that can run the ball and keep our defense off the field right now. And then if we can't get those two things, defensive backfield help, linebacker help. It's a linebacker from Alabama that's supposed to go down there. We need help. all over defense. It's either running the ball or getting after the quarterback or defense in general. You know, a good DB we already talked about, or we will talk about, Jair Alexander from Louisville, NFL draft spotlight. You know, I just don't think we in the luxury to draft, you know, a tight end. I mean, look, we draft Eric Ebron, that set us back. You know, major, they set us back. Man, we could have had, you know, Aaron Donald, and we knew that we was going to lose Nick Fairley and losing Dominican. So we could have Aaron Donald or Odell Beckham Jr. I believe the year we drafted Brandon Pettigrew, don't quote me on this, we could have had Clay Matthews. I mean, I'm just tired of, you know, drafting tight ends that can't catch. We knew Eric Ebron had one of the worst drop percentages in college football. But yet the Lions let a minute or two go off the draft clock and ran the card up there and drafted him. He couldn't catch. We all knew that coming out of North Carolina. And North Carolina is not even a football hotbed. So if you can't catch versus some of the subpar colleges that North Carolina plays sometimes, you know, how you gonna catch in the big leagues? I know North Carolina do play Louisville and Syracuse, well, not Syracuse, Louisville and Florida State and stuff of that nature. But yeah, you know, I just don't understand it. You know, consistently keep drafting the tight end. If they draft tight end this year, I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm not gonna read about it. I'm not gonna say nothing. I don't want to see Lions blue for a minute. It'll make me irate. You know, if the guy turns out to be good, I apologize. But our history with drafting tight ends the last two, I'm good. But, you know, like I said, in this article, you can read through the little tweets in the article. Fans are freaking out. They feel the same way I feel about drafting the tight end. We got too many other holes to fill, man. And I understand if you want to pick the best player available, you tell me that Hayden Hurst or another tight end is the best player available. It's hard to sell that to me, you know, especially when you see, you know, teams getting Dalvin Cook in the second round, teams getting Randall Cobb in the second round, Casey Hayward going in the second, third round, you know, Alvin Kamara going in the fourth round, you know, the dude from the Green Bay, Jamal Williams, going to the sixth or seventh round. It's hard to tell me when you see gems like that, Dak Prescott going into the third or fourth round. It's hard, you know, and sell us on Hayden Hurst or whatever tight end, and you know talent is there. You know a Nick Chubbs is there. You know a Sony Michel is there. You feel me? You know the DJ Moore from Maryland is there. You know all these different talented guys are there. And it's going to be a hidden pass rusher, a hitter, DB, gem. It's going to be some gems in the draft that needs to be coached up or just need exposure or just need better talent around them. And for you to draft a tight end, you know, it ain't going to cut it. You know, it ain't going to cut it. It's going to be a tough sale to draft a tight end and bring him to Detroit and try to sell him to this fan base, especially when it's not a superstar-esque tight end. You know, look at O.J. Howard last year from Alabama. He was supposed to be everything you want in tight end, prototypical, build him up, build a tight end workshop, like build a bear workshop. And he just had an okay year. He wasn't even the number one tight end on his team. Cameron Brake was the big red zone threat for Jameis Winston last year. Caught a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. So, you know, it's too much of a developmental, position, and we keep missing on it. So let me know how y'all feel the Lions drafting the tight end in the first round this year. Y'all know what it is. We gone.